Hello, my name is Andres, and in this video, I'll be reflecting a little of what we learned or what I learned through our process improvement project. Me and my team focus on the company finish line, and in this assignment, we utilized a real world case and used some of the tools that we learned in class in order to analyze a major problem that they had and come up with some sort of actionable solution that may help them improve their process. So, one problem that we analyzed was that the customers who ordered their shoes or their merchandise online had to wait in long lines, while in-store shoppers didn't really have to wait as long. This caused a lot of congestion and longer wait times, and obviously this is a frustrating experience both for customers and for the employees. So we acclimated our project in a way that we looked at peak hours during the weekends, which is usually where the problem stems from, is peak times and peak congestion. And after we decided this, we developed a problem statement and realized that it's more than just a customer service issue. It's sort of a systems issue as well, and this was reflected because they had a really poor process flow, a lack of technological support, and not enough good store design. So, an important thing that I learned here was to define the clear problem and focus on like the root cause of what causes these congestion lines, and not look at just the surface level information that you have. So I'm going to talk about some of the tools that we utilized whenever we were building this project. And in my opinion, I think that the tool that helped us realize and understand what problem we were looking at, because in the beginning of the project, we didn't really know what we were looking for. We assumed that Finish Line had it all figured out and that the problems were flawless. So we didn't know what to expect. But whenever we were building the five whys analysis, we discovered that the long wait times weren't just because of the volume of people that were coming in and out of the store. It happened because Finish Line only had one POS system, which means that they only had one system in charge of checking in and out for the shoes and the merchandise in the store. So this would obviously cause congestion in peak days, because if you only have one POS system or one RFID scanner that scans every item and is keeping track of all the inventory coming in and out of the store, it was just a poor layout. Um, this analysis definitely helped us a lot and helped us understand what we were looking for. Like I said, another tool that we utilized for this project was the fishbone diagram, and wasn't as helpful, but it also helped us break down some of the delay times into categories like outdated technology, employee limitations, poor layout, and a lack of communication between the employees during peak times in the store. And obviously, our future state map helped us understand like where we want to go with the project and how we want the project to look like, or the process to look like, once we have implemented all of the suggestions that we put in this project. And these tools made me think critically, and it made me understand that you can't really fix retail problems just by throwing more people in, because you have to take all into account. And one thing that the company said is that they budget really strictly on the employee situation. So they have a lot of issues budgeting for the employees. So that's why you can't just schedule people, and it goes deeper than you think. So for our project, we told them some of our key recommendations for what to do, or what we would suggest them to do to fix this problem. And the first one was the dedicated online desk, which pretty much the whole point of this is to have two desks, one for in-store employee or in-store purchases, and one for online purchases. Instead of assigning a new employee to work in that shift, we were looking into relocating one of the employees that were working inventory because we were talking to the manager and he said that most of the time the people working inventory, like, they're not doing much throughout the day. So we figured that why don't we put this extra employee that's not really doing much during the day and have him work this desk on peak times. We obviously took into account training and we budgeted for that as well. Um, but I think that this would be an investment and not an expense opportunity. So that's why we think that was one of our strongest suggestions. Some of the pros that come with the online pickup desk would be that this would let the online order customers skip the main line and honestly avoid it. I think it's ridiculous that they have to wait in the same line and sometimes wait 15 to 20 minutes for a shoes that like have already been put aside for them. By adding an extra desk, we thought that this would reduce the wait time by about 50%, and obviously this would improve the overall customer experience. And another recommendation that we put was to add entertainment across the store. We originally suggested magazines, just like put magazines around the store and have people entertain themselves while they shop. We figured that this would make for the experience to be a little more seamless and the customers wouldn't have to just be waiting for their shoes all along. They could be like have some sort of entertainment. Um, by doing this, we think that the customer might have a perception that they're not waiting as long as they actually are, and this would be the most economically friendly suggestion that we had, and that would probably still make a difference. And we still think that it would work. So I wanted to finish up saying why this project mattered to me. And honestly, I really enjoyed this project because we got to work with a real life company and got to see how it felt. We got to see how employees work, their work environment, and it wasn't like we were dealing with a fake company. We were actually trying to solve a problem um, by implementing solutions that many problems that retail stores actually face. Um, I'd say it helped me build skills in critical thinking, made me understand some of the operations and supply chain a little bit better, and also made me realize how much psychology is used in the corporate world that you don't even understand because um, that magazine or the entertainment suggestion that we had, like I wasn't even aware of anything like that goes on subconsciously in your brain. Like it's stuff that you don't really think about. So it was definitely really interesting to think about it in a psychological way. I really enjoyed that too, and I just enjoyed that we got to apply uh, our knowledge to a real world setting and use some of the tools that we learned how to do during class and apply them in a professional setting. So that's my reflection, and thank you.